with David Pepper, chair of the Ohio Democratic Party and also well known in Cincinnati for being on the city council and also county commission. David, welcome. Very, very strong Bernie Sanders speech for Hillary Clinton. Could Hillary Clinton have asked for any more from Bernie Sanders?
No, it was an amazing speech. It was obviously a full-throated endorsement. He talked about all the things his campaign had done and then said if we want to keep that going, we have to elect Hillary Clinton and defeat Donald Trump. I think he's absolutely right. So it was a very strong endorsement, and the crowd responded incredibly well. People were on their feet, both Clinton and Sanders supporters. So between that and the other speakers, it was a great night.
Do you think that the overwhelming majority of Bernie Sanders supporters are not going to vote for Donald Trump, but do you think they will actually ultimately come on board and not just go, hold their nose and vote, but actually go out and work for Hillary Clinton, tell their friends, things like that?
Yeah, I do, actually. If you look at the polling, and 90% of Sanders supporters already say they're going to vote for Hillary Clinton, that's actually more than we saw in '08 of Clinton supporters on board for Obama. And you saw it last night. The media, no offense, sometimes will track down the negative voices to talk to them. But I had a bird's eye view of the entire arena when Sanders implored voters to support Hillary Clinton. And the whole place was on its feet. People were cheering, clapping, all on board. And other major Sanders supporters like Ben Jealous and some of the others did the same thing, Keith Ellison, and people were really excited on both sides. So I think you're seeing already in only day one a whole lot of unification, far more than we saw in Cleveland last week, by the way. And I think it will just keep building through all 4 days. But between Michelle Obama, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, I think you saw a really energized, unified crowd last night.
The email situation, the hacking, the resignation of Debbie Wasserman Schultz, I mean, that's not the way you want to open a convention on day one. Do you see lasting impact from that? Or is it one of those, like the Melania Trump thing, which, was a big deal for like 4 hours?
Right. Actually, I actually give the party leaders credit because unlike the Melania Trump, they actually dealt with it the day before the convention even started. This was the powers that be obviously made a change. Donna Brazile is someone who's very respected. Marcia Fudge from Cleveland opened the convention yesterday. She did a great job. She is no nonsense and led the day very well. So I actually people. Unlike the Melania Trump, where you saw people denying plagiarism for several days when it was so obvious that it had happened. In this case, given what had happened, the party made a swift move, and so you didn't see, I think, the very tough reaction you've gotten if Debbie Wasserman Schultz had continued to sort of be the face of the convention. So I think for last night showed when we got to the end that the right decisions were made mostly the day before the convention even started. But bigger picture, I'll just say, right now, the American people care mostly about who's going to push to lift wages, who's going to be a steady hand in a challenging world, and battles over emails and leaks and all that isn't going to answer those questions for most voters. So that's why I think what happened last night was so important. We got back to the issues, we got back to the energy and a positive vision, and the insider baseball was sort of settled by basically Sunday and a lot of Monday.
The one thing Bernie Sanders said, and it's certainly true, is that his campaign, I guess, pushed Hillary Clinton, if you want to say to the left, in terms of on a higher minimum wage than she wanted, free college for a large percentage of the population, and some other issues. Are you comfortable that the platform is something, and I know candidates don't always run on the platform, but are you comfortable that the platform is something that can sell in Ohio?
Yeah, I actually think that Bernie Sanders did more than just that. I think he raised those issues for the country. And if you talk to the average voter in Ohio, they also want to see wages higher, the minimum wage higher. That's not some narrow issue in Ohio. If you asked Ohioans, do you want to increase the minimum wage, it's overwhelmingly in support of that. If you asked Ohioans, are you worried about college tuition, you want real solutions, the overwhelming support for that, not just from Democrats, by the way. So I actually think Bernie Sanders did so well and got a lot of independents involved because he was touching on issues that right now are frustrating a lot of people, and his solutions made sense to a lot of people, not just Democrats, by the way. Again, we saw a rush to to vote in the Democratic primary in a lot of places from independents because Bernie Sanders was capturing the emotions on a lot of these issues. So I think he broadened the party. I think he brought some progressive ideas for sure, but also a lot of he sort of captured a lot of people's frustration with a status quo that not everyone has been part of benefiting from. And so I wouldn't. It's not just about the party or Hillary Clinton. I think it's actually about reflecting a broader spectrum of the American people, which this platform now does, and I think Hillary Clinton's campaign will as well.
David, I always say in any interview, anything else that you want to throw in that I didn't ask, this is the chance.
Yeah, I'll just say it's been we've been proud as Ohio Democrats to see the role that our leaders are playing in this convention, in this party. You know, yesterday Marcia Fudge from Cleveland chaired the whole thing, for goodness sakes. Chillicothe, Luke Feeney, the mayor of Chillicothe, one of our great young stars in the Ohio Democratic Party, just was elected last November in Chillicothe, was one of our speakers, which was great. He was at the 8:30 slot. That's a very important time slot, and it speaks to the importance of building a bench and starting at the local level. And then, of course, Joyce Beatty, Sharon Brown, and others are all playing a role. So we're excited, Ohio Democrats, that we're a big part of this national party. We're an important part, and you see it reflected in the roles we're playing in this convention.
Yeah, I did interview Mayor Feeney yesterday afternoon, and he's certainly well-spoken. And you're right. I think you would agree the Republicans at this minute, just for their control of the state house and some of the most of the state constitutional offices, have maybe a deeper bench looking forward. So establishing a bench for you guys is a big deal. That's not a question. I guess that's a statement.
That's one of our big priorities. Yeah. Well, I'll just say, their bench is largely populated by gerrymandered districts. They don't have to win elections to create their bench. They just created districts that they're guaranteed to win. We go out and win elections like the mayor of Cincinnati, the mayor of Chillicothe, council seats in places like Wilmington and Tip City, let alone places like Toledo, Akron, Columbus. So, yeah, we spent a lot of time last year. For us, there are no off-year elections. There are local elections, state elections, and whether it's last year in Luke Feeney and Mayor Paula Hicks Hudson in Toledo, we're all about getting great public servants elected at all levels, which is the way you build a bench long-term, and also the way you start showing people this is not a game about just winning elections, which is what people perceive. It's about getting good people into office like Luke Feeney, who are great public servants, and then go out and do great service to lift their communities. So that's a big priority of ours. And Luke Feeney being on that stage last night really was affirmation about what we're trying to do in Ohio.
Thank you very much, David Pepper. We will obviously see you back in Cincinnati in the not-too-distant future.
Great. Thanks, Jeff.